I remember looking at Bitcoin when it was around $11,000, and at that time I was really thinking about buying it. But as of recently, Bitcoin has skyrocketed all the way up to $40,000, dropped back down to 35, and back around 40 at the time of me recording this. That is absolutely insane, but I still won't be buying any. What's up guys, my name is Mateo Hall. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and leave a like down below because this is about to get a little controversial. Yes, I just said controversial. But the point is that Bitcoin has skyrocketed, and me as this millennial Gen Z mix, you would think that I would be all over cryptocurrencies and everything new age, right? Well, kind of. I still want to be a smart investor, and I was thinking about buying Bitcoin before, but I'm definitely not gonna buy it right now, and I honestly don't think you should either. So last time Bitcoin really skyrocketed up was late 2017, around December, when it reached a grand total of $20,000, which honestly, looking back on it, even if you bought at the absolute peak, you would still be up 100% on Bitcoin right now. The terrible thing, though, is that after December of 2017, 2 months later, in February of 2018, it skyrocketed, or I guess collapsed, all the way down to $8,000. People that bought in when it was going way up definitely hurt after seeing their investment go straight down the toilet, for lack of a better term. But you should also acknowledge that before this, Bitcoin was trading around $700 to $1,200. If you were in Bitcoin before this giant bull rush on it, you would have made some serious profits still. So what's the point in bringing up the past? I think that right now Bitcoin is going through a very similar thing. They're seeing a very large buy into it right now. Previously, Bitcoin was dancing around $11,000 to $12,000 when I was considering buying it. I don't know, it seems like a week ago now because it's just gone crazy recently. But now it's over tripled to $38,000. At $11,000, I 100% would have bought it if I had the assets to actually buy in, and I should have. But right now at $38,000, I don't see Bitcoin being worth it. I could be completely wrong in this, and this is not financial advice, so don't take what I'm saying as the absolute truth. Everything that you hear on the internet, you should be taking with a grain of salt. But I'm thinking back to 2017 when Bitcoin started skyrocketing up. A lot of it back then was FOMO of this new cryptocurrency that's now hot on the market with no real backing to it. And I'll acknowledge that right now there is a little bit more of a financial ground to stand on. Banks are starting to accept cryptocurrency in storage. It's a really interesting thing that I recommend that everyone check this out because the fundamentals of cryptocurrency in and of themselves has changed in the past couple of months. So that justifies to a point Bitcoin skyrocketing up a decent amount because it's more relevant. It's given a sense of authority now. But what I don't think it validates is a reason to suddenly 5x, 4x, maybe even 3x its market potential. That's a bit much for me. I think right now we are in a bell-shaped curve of what Bitcoin's gonna be looking at. Well, a semi-bell. We're gonna be in something that looks a little bit like this real soon is what I think. Bitcoin was dancing around $11,000 for quite a while, and it's definitely gonna keep going up. I think it could hit $40,000 again. It could hit $50,000 for all I know. It really depends on how much FOMO people have of wanting to get into Bitcoin or not. But I think after a couple months, maybe even a year, it's gonna come back down and balance out in a new happy medium. Now we saw a little bit of pressure around the $20,000 mark when Bitcoin started going through the roof, but I think that was just because that's what the previous all-time high was. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to stabilize around $20,000, honestly. I don't think anyone really knows what Bitcoin's going to be stabilizing around right now. I do know, however, is that Bitcoin is really volatile right now, but volatility does not necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. I mean, look at Tesla. Tesla is a very volatile stock and a holding that I've debated having for a really long time, and it's outperformed pretty much everything lately. I think that Bitcoin is gonna be a similar holding in my portfolio. It's something that's really, really volatile right now that honestly I'm not sure if I can hold on to. The reason that I don't want to hold on to something super volatile right now is because of the fact that I plan on getting into real estate within the next couple of years. And though I believe in Bitcoin in the long run, I honestly think that in 20 years it's gonna be priced well above $40,000. In the next 3 years, I could see it rebounding back down to 15, 20, maybe 25 even. The fact is, I don't know, and that's what scares me. See, I don't want to get invested into something that I don't know. What I want is for you guys to smash the like button because I've been doing a lot of research for this video and would really appreciate it. Another thing that I would want is really smart investments. Investing in companies that I understand and that actually have a financial backing instead of cryptocurrencies that I've started to do some research in but don't fully have a grasp on. And that's something that I recommend to everybody is don't invest into something that you don't really understand how it works, how they make money, how they're profitable. Because if you don't understand it, then I don't think it's a smart investment, personally. I mean, you can always go with a safe index fund, tracking an S&P 500, because those are companies that have shown results for a really long time. Or if you've done a lot of research into blockchain, onto how the impacts on banking is, onto the inflation rates versus the influx of Bitcoin, deflation, and anti-inflation, that's a difference. That's when you could start getting into it, when you understand the nitty-gritty of it a bit more. When inflation starts to rise, so does Bitcoin. But when inflation starts to rise, so do stock prices. So it's something that you have to realize the correlation between two different things without going blindly into something. I 100% believe in Bitcoin and think that it's going to be an important asset to hold on to in the future. But right now, it's a little too pricey for me, especially with how volatile it is. If I did buy anything with it right now, I would have to limit myself quite a bit. On my portfolio, I'd probably be keeping about 10% or less in cryptocurrencies, which sounds absolutely insane to the millennial Gen Z hyper crypto focused crowd like Andre Jick. And that's no disrespect to Andre, because the fact that he was able to get into Bitcoin before it started skyrocketing up isn't a test to how lucky or smart he was. Now, he was smart because he got into Bitcoin to begin with. He knew that it was part of the future, but he was lucky in the fact of how quickly Bitcoin ran up. I don't know how many of these super bull markets we're going to be able to see with cryptocurrencies, because we just kept getting headline after headline, and FOMO can only rise something up so far. Honestly, I hesitate to say this, but I think that if I was in Bitcoin right now, I probably would be selling some of it, given my situation, just because I want those funds to go shopping for real estate. I believe in Bitcoin in the long term, but I believe in real estate more. Bitcoin is a very, very risky part of your portfolio, and you have to acknowledge that if you're going to buy into it. Right now, I won't tell you not to buy into Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, check the links down below for Robinhood. You can get entirely free stock for signing up for the platform, immediately withdraw the money from that stock, and then put it straight into Bitcoin. But what I wouldn't do if I was you is put my entire portfolio in it right now. What my strategy for Bitcoin is, at least, is to buy into it a little bit. I'll probably keep it sub 3% of my portfolio once it starts to bottom out again, because I think that right now the stock is still being driven up by FOMO a decent amount, and eventually it's gonna even out to something a little bit more realistic. But who knows, maybe this is gonna be the lowest we ever see Bitcoin, and in 5 years we're gonna be thinking back, oh Sonny, you remember when Bitcoin was only $40,000? Grandpa, I'm telling you, Bitcoin was never $40,000. You need at least $1 million to even get started in there. Back in my day, we could buy a Tesla for 1 Bitcoin. Cringy message aside, I think that Bitcoin's future is really unpredictable at this time, but it's definitely a part of our future as the finance community. It's something that I'm going to be keeping my eye on for these next couple of months. And I think if it's dropping below 20,000 again, I'm going to start to nibble in there because honestly, I don't think that Bitcoin's going to be dropping that low ever again. Bitcoin is probably part of the future, whether or not some people want it, because banks are starting to recognize it, and that's just the first step to worldwide adaptation. If you found this video helpful, remember to leave a like and check the description down below. Get your entirely free stock with Robinhood just for signing up for the platform, and deposit $100 and get up to 4 free stocks with Webull just for signing up for the platform and depositing your $100. While you're down there, get your free $50 credit. That's halfway towards your Robinhood offer, so you're getting pretty much 2 free stocks for getting the free $50 by signing up for a Discover card, which is absolutely insane. Take advantage of all of these lucky offers, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time until we continue our financial journeys.